Dear students, we are now starting your essays. You have the text which provides you with a number of essays, each one representing a certain age in English literature and also from the other countries written in English. People who are from other countries and writing in English, and those prose works are also included there. So, the title of the text is Appreciating Prose. I hope by now you have really bought the text and it is there with you. So, before you begin to watch the class, at least have the text with you. That would be much more appropriate. I'm sure that you are ready and eager for the class. The first essay that we have to begin today is an essay by Francis Bacon, and the title of the essay is Of Studies. You have already heard something about Francis Bacon and the position that he held in the court, and also his great skill in writing, and especially in Latin. And at the same time, you find him using English also. And he has got such an extent of knowledge that he puts it into words. He's not using long sentences in the usual modern manner, but he uses parenthetical sentences, means sentences which are separated by either a comma or a colon, and it continues. And in that sense, he uses long sentences. But the wisdom that he gives us through the essay is one of real exemplary nature, and each sentence needs a lot of explanation. So, in this class, we'll deal with only three sections or maybe three parts of the essay. The rest three parts we'll deal with in the next class. Okay, shall we begin the essay? Because only after reading the essay you get to know more about the writing skill of Francis Bacon and how this enhances the beauty of the essay and imparts a lot of knowledge to us, especially to students, because you have taken English language and literature and you have a certain aim in life. And this aim is fulfilled by reading and writing and educating yourself in the stream that you have chosen for yourself. And this is English literature. So, what about people who take mathematics or other science subjects and other things? That question is answered by the sentences that Francis Bacon writes, and how he imparts knowledge of human nature and of education in general to the public. Let's start the essay. The title is Of Studies. As you know, Francis Bacon is a renowned writer, and English literature study is not complete without properly knowing more about Francis Bacon. And at the same time, you find him more or less a person who is much more interested in imparting the wisdom that he had gleaned or gathered by his years in the court and also in the university. So the let's take the first sentence. He begins the essay by making a statement. The statement is this: studies serve for for delight, for ornament, and for ability. So even that also is very significant. Studies in the sense that it is used to mean education. So we have to take studies to understand education or knowledge. and how he makes use of that term in the older sense, not in the modern sense, but in the older sense. He says that studies serve for delight, for ornament, and for ability. And he further tells us their chief use for delight is in privateness and retiring. So he says that studies serve for delight, for ornament, and for ability. And then he continues with delight, or for ornament, and for ability. These three terms are really important. So, how does studies serve for delight? He says that their chief use for delight is in privateness and retiring. When you read a book all by yourself and enjoy that reading, then that gives you delight and you get a sort of happiness. You are extremely happy when you read a very good book and enjoy that book. And even when you are retiring or taking rest, also, this reading helps you to understand and enjoy the lines and also the theme of the book. And this in turn gives you delight. So, studies serve for delight, and their chief use for delight is in privateness and retiring. Then, studies serve for ornament also. So, for ornament is in discourse. Ornament is in discourse. Ornament means decoration. Discourse means conversation. So, how does studies serve as ornament as in conversation? This is because when you start talking to a person, naturally you exhibit all the words that you have learned and use that to impress that person. It is not just everyday conversation, it is something more. And it is that which is what we call as ornament. And naturally, this is possible when you start talking or when you have a conversation with another person. Again, you find that studies serve for ability, and for ability is in judgment and disposition of business. Studies serve for ability, means your ability as a person increases, and that increased ability helps you to have the right judgment and to have the right disposition of business. Whatever business that you are engaged in, the studies will help you to have a proper judgment of the things that are around you and how to deal with it in the right manner, and thus have the disposition of business, means conducting the business in the proper manner. So you find that studies serve for delight, for ornament, and for ability. That is, delight when it is in private and retiring, for ornament while you are in conversation with another person, and for delight. This helps you to have the good judgment and also the right disposition of business. For expert men can execute and perhaps judge of particulars one by one. For expert men, men who are really expert, men who have the ability and has the right judgment, they are expert men. They can execute, means they can really do the work and do things well. And perhaps judge of particulars, means not overall judgment, but even the very minutest of things are judged or even taken care of by these people, and one by one they deal with that problem or whatever it is there. So here you find it naturally all the more very important to have studies, and this in turn will help you to be a good judge of particulars and naturally be a good executive and one by one deal with the problems. But the general counsels and the plots and marshalling of affairs come best from those that are learned. That is, but the general counsels means general advices and the plots and marshalling of affairs come best from those that are learned. People who have education, they become the general counsels, means people who are advisors to the king or politicians, and the plots and marshalling of affairs means in the ruling of the country their worth is really understandable, because we know that if there is a very important discussion going on between India and another country, and the people in India, or maybe the prime minister, or even the chief minister, whoever it is, they speak the language of our country and very few speak English. And maybe the person is from another country, like suppose Germany, and there will be translators and there will be advisors also, people who are really learned. They give advice to the prime minister or the person in charge, and that person really will be the one person who will look into the affairs, but main decision will be taken by the prime minister. But all these learned people, especially the IAS officers, they assess the situation and give these particulars for consideration, and a decision is taken. So they give general counsel and the plots and marshalling of affairs, how to move this in this way or that way, how to deal with this country, how to deal not to deal with that country. All these are advices which only a very learned person can give, come best from those that are learned. So these advices, everything comes from people who are educated. So you know that the importance of studies here is emphasized by Francis Bacon. Again, he continues. He says that to spend too much time in studies is sloth. Sloth means laziness. And you know that most of you feel, or you are tended towards laziness. Laziness means we have been studying for a long, long time. Why should you spend too much time? Take only the appropriate time to go through an essay and understand it and write out the points. That much is enough. Then leave it. Then continue with another. Instead of which, some of you just have the essay with you and keep it on and on for more than 1 or 2 hours, and still you have not understood the essay. This is indeed sloth or laziness. To use them much for ornaments, is affectation. Means, in a way, it could be said that too much of studies and the way you show off your studies or your skill or your word jugglery, it is affectation, means a kind of pretension or showing off. In the modern terms, it is showing off. And so it is for ornament. Sometimes you have seen people coming and using kind of twisted words and making it impossible for us to understand certain meanings. Actually, there is a simpler word, and instead of using that in daily conversation, they try to show it off by using some words which are not familiar to the common people. So that is again another aspect of studies. To make judgment wholly by their rules is the humor of a scholar. That is, to make judgment mainly by the knowledge that one has gained is the humor of a scholar. A proper scholar naturally will use the scholarship that he had gained and he will not move from there. Means he is not ready to compromise. And so this kind of a person is a scholar, and that scholar will go only by the knowledge that he had gained and the scholarship that he had gained, and not by anything more. So Bacon continues to say, they perfect nature and are perfected by experience. For natural abilities are like natural plants that need pruning by study, and studies themselves do give forth directions too much at large, except they are bounded in by experience. So you find that this is a long sentence, and you find a comma, a semicolon, again a comma, then again a comma, and one more comma, and finally a period, means a full stop. So, what is he trying to tell us through this long sentence? Bacon here is trying to compare studies to, or even the nature of human beings to a plant. They perfect nature. They, in the sense, studies perfect the nature of a human being. And he says they are perfected by experience of a person and his natural abilities, and all these combined will make a person a scholar. Again, he says, for natural abilities are like natural plants that need pruning by study. Natural abilities are like natural plants that need pruning by study. Some people will have the skill, they can sing very well. Their sound is so very sweet, and their tune is also very good. And sometimes you just ask the child's mother, why don't you send her for training? And then that child is sent for training, and her voice is modulated, she learns more music, and the final outcome is she's perfect, or the person is perfect. And in the same manner, natural abilities are like natural plants that need pruning by study, and studies themselves do give forth directions too much at large, except they be bounded by experience. So, these natural abilities are like natural plants. Natural plants means plants by nature that grows all by itself. And sometimes when you know that it's raining season, and all around you, when you look at the people, or even the grounds around your house, you find that the people are working because it is rainy time and it is raining heavily, and plants had grown or maybe overgrown, and lots of leaves everywhere, and sometimes it is so crowded it is almost like too much bushy, and so it is to be cut. And naturally we all have coconut palm in our house. Each house will have one or more coconut palms, and all around it now is the time to dig and make a big enough place to keep all the, or to put in all the green leaves, manure, and even salt, whatever it is that is nourishing for the coconut palm. And we do that every year at this time. And so you cut all the trees, prune them, and we are not totally cutting it off, because we know that rainy season is here and new shoots will come up, and so there is no need to worry about that. And so the plant will be yielding more in the next season. Suppose you have a mango tree and its branches had overgrown, and now you cut it off and put it everything under this coconut palm. So, this is something that you are familiar with. Next year, there will be new shoots coming from the mango tree, and along with that, lots of mangoes. So, in a way, by pruning, you are increasing the ability of the plant, the yielding ability of the plant. So, in the human beings also, there is a natural tendency to learn or to study, and by adding the studies, you are in a way increasing your ability to learn and to acquire scholarship, and that need pruning by studying. And study is the way you prune yourself, and studies themselves do give forth directions too much at large. Too much directions will be given, and except they be bounded in by experience. Too much of direction you get, because the book, there are lots of books, and you get a lot of knowledge. You can read this, that, and everything, but there is that pruning experience, and along with that, you find that you are binded in by life experience. So when you take this sentence, you understand that Francis Bacon understands that scholarship is necessary. He is not rejecting life experience. He knows quite well that being a scholar alone, or being a person who gathers knowledge from books alone, is not the only way to increase your knowledge. Life experience is an absolute necessity. So he is very particular about speaking about life experience. This is why we can find that Francis Bacon had learned from his life experience. He was a scholar from the university, well learned by nature, and had acquired a lot of scholarship. He started writing, so he is using that knowledge by writing, or by imparting that knowledge to other people, and in a way increasing his ability as a scholar. At the same time, he was in the court, and in the court also, he had a lot of experiences. And you know how it is in the court. Some people will be flattering the king, others will be against the king. There will be enemies who pretend to be friendly. And through all these, and one person will be envious of the other person. And if he is a favorite of the king, he will have the king's ear or king's favor, and will turn him against you. That kind of a trickery, or that kind of life, he learned in the court itself. So these experiences taught him a lot. This is why he is including that life experience in his works. So he says that if you are like a natural plant which needs pruning, which will yield more by pruning, studies help you to prune and increase your natural ability to acquire knowledge and bear fruits. Don't you think that this is a good advice? You have your own ability to learn, and that ability is pruned by your classroom teaching, and also the books that are recommended. You read them and acquire knowledge, and in that manner, you prune yourself to yield more. It's a beautiful example of how studies helps you to be better in life. Again, he continues. He says that crafty men condemn studies, simple men admire them, and wise men use them. So he categorizes men into three groups. One is crafty, the other is simple, and the third is wise. Why does he begin with crafty men? You must remember that he was in the court. So naturally, you find a lot of people, especially crafty men. Crafty men, in the sense, people who are cunning. They are so contemptuous of studies. Why are you going for so much of studies? And he says university studies are not necessary. You can learn a lot by experience. You should know how to do things properly. And what use is this book learning? That kind of talk goes on in the court and even other places also. And I'm sure that you have come across that a lot, even in your life also. So even sometimes I also used to speak like that, because bookish studies alone will not help you. You need to know what life is, and you should know what is happening in the world. That is one way of speaking generally. But these men speak because they are afraid that their places will be taken by these university men. This is why crafty men or cunning men condemn studies. This is especially in connection with the court that he had been in, the court of the king or the queen of England. And naturally, this is something that people really knew quite well. So, very few people were from the university or learned, like Francis Bacon, and he is getting a very important place. So, there are others who had not learned scholarship like Francis Bacon, and they feel that their place in the court will be taken by this learned person. So, naturally, they condemn studies. Again, you find simple men, they admire them. Simple men means people who are innocent, people who do not think twice or envious of the other people. They have a great admiration for people who are learned. They admire knowledge. In a way, this is good because they knew the value of these people, and they are not in the least bit envious of them, nor are they threatened by the presence of these studied men. So they admire studies. So simple men admire them, and wise men use them. Wise men use studies, or wise men use people who are educated, because wise men knows quite well that these people have a lot of knowledge, and that knowledge is to be used in the proper manner. It will be advantageous to them. And this is why you have advisors to a lot of people, I mean, to a lot of people in position. And you find that we have a minister or a chief minister or a prime minister, and a decision is taken not by the person but by a group of people who are learned. Actually, these people, that is the representatives, like the very important person who holds the office, do not have the power to take a decision all by himself or herself. And each decision that is taken by the leader is actually the decision of a group of people who gives him proper advice regarding each section or even each particular incident or even particular aspect of ruling. And this is why these learned men are used, or people who have studied are used as advisors. And wise men make use of the advice of these people. Wise men use studies or use the people who are studied. For they teach not their own use, but that is a wisdom without them, and above them, won by observation. That is, they teach not their own use. That is, wise men or the studies teach not their own use, but that is a wisdom without them, and above them, won by observation. So these people, that is, wise men, in a way make use of the studies, and they knew that it is wisdom, and that without wisdom and with above wisdom, it is won by observation. Means there is a limit for studies. You can reach any heights, but even then there is a limit. But more than that, the observing power of a learned person will add more to his studies. Earlier, he spoke of life experience combined with education, and now he is telling us to be observant. And this observation will help us to understand people and decide things with the help of our learning, and decide, make a decision all for ourselves, or give a proper advice to the man that you are serving. In the case of Francis Bacon, he was serving the king or the queen, and naturally, you find he was serving the monarch, and naturally, he is the one person who is called in to give advice to the monarch, and that he did properly. And how was this done? Because he was learned and he had observed the ruling code, and by this observation he had come to a conclusion. Like, for example, in India, we have a lot of people, but the prime minister, if there is an issue, nowadays you have an issue with a neighboring country, and you have a person or a panel of persons who are really specialists on that particular country. I repeat, a specialist, each one is specialist on that particular country. Not just one person, there will be a group of people. And they have studied that country, its nature, and its attitude to our own country. And they give advice to the ruler, that is, to the prime minister. And I'm sure that you must have listened to panel discussions on Indo-Chinese war, and how so many people were called in to give their opinion. And sometimes you get former ambassadors to the country, and their opinion and their caution. All these are something that you have to observe. And panel discussion is something that you get almost every day on your TV. After the news or between news hours, you find them. And most often we ignore that, because it is a lot of people talking and lot from one party or the other. But other than that, if you observe closely, you find people who are expert on certain issues are brought in, and their valuable assessment is given. So that assessment is aired, and we, the common people, also get a proper insight into the working of the relationship between one country and the other. It is like reading more than 10 books. They have given you the distilled wisdom of their years, and it is that which they are imparting to the people. And so you find that these people are learned men. They have observed, they have also used that wisdom, and in a way they have risen above that also. And it is that accumulated distillation that we are using to ride over a crisis. And this is what Francis Bacon means by such a sentence. Again, he says, read not to contradict and confute, not to believe and taken for granted. Taken for granted, not to find talk and discourse, but to weigh and consider. You are to read, not to contradict and confute, but to believe and take for granted. Why is he saying that? When you read something, we get knowledge. So why can't we contradict the opinion of others? And why can't you confute whatever that the other person says? But he says, read not to contradict and confute, not to believe and take for granted. That is, do not believe as such what the other person says. You are a learned person, and you need not believe whatever the other people say about certain things. You can always search the books and find the authentic information. In the same manner, we can say that nowadays Bacon was speaking about books, but now I may have to change that. Instead of books, I must say, you can search the internet and sometimes you get proper information and check whether it is true or not. And even in WhatsApp also, you get a lot of fake message. And even in the television nowadays, you have a certain hour properly dedicated to the fake news hour. I am sure that you must have observed that. So do not believe everything that the others say and take for granted. Do not believe and take for granted certain things, because don't go by that. Double check it. That is what studies help you. And your learning and your university days, or even the university education or college education, will help you an upper crust or something more than an ordinary person. And that knowledge will help you not to take for granted whatever that the others say or supply you with. You have to understand whatever that goes behind it. And that is how you have to use the knowledge or your studies. Not to find, talk, and discourse. That is, do not believe or take for granted. Not to find, talk, and discourse means just talk or discourse means in a way not to be taken in by gossip. So, in a way, you are being cautioned by Francis Bacon, and he says that it is necessary that you can listen to your friends talking, but sometimes you know that this is just crap, means just foolishness, but you won't say it aloud because your learning has helped you to rein in and at the same time not to believe what the other person just foolishly says about certain things. And you are not also contradicting him, because your knowledge helps you to understand that it is not really necessary to contradict a foolish person, because he will not believe you, nor is it of any use to him or to you. So naturally you keep your silence, but you are to weigh and consider. You are to weigh and consider in the sense that you are to think before you answer something. This is done by, or this is in a way helped by your studies or the education or the knowledge that you get. So you have to weigh and consider the options before you, and only then you take a final decision. So weigh it in the pros and cons, and also give due consideration for certain things, and finally make your own decision rather than be imposed by the decision of other people. No need for that, because you get a lot of help from your studies, and those studies will help you to weigh and consider, and that is the right way to assess something. So this is in a way a great advice from a person who is a learned man, a person who had been in the court of the monarch, and a person who had knowledge in Latin and English. And in a way, his advice is worth following. So, this is just a little bit of advice, and you will find by this time that you are familiar with the way he uses colon, semicolon, and colon, and even a comma in the sentence, because he is just enlarging whatever that he is saying, and this in turn is helping us to understand what he means by his words. Read not to contradict and confute, not to believe and take for granted, not to find, talk, and discourse, but to weigh and consider. Read in the sense, read and understand, but at the same time gather knowledge, and this knowledge in turn will help you not to contradict and confute, not to believe and take for granted, not to find, talk, and discourse, but to weigh and consider.